Now down Odysseus and his men went to the ship at the water's edge. Circe, the awesome nymph with lovely braids who speaks with human voice, sent them a hearty shipmate, a fresh following wind ruffling up in their wake. The sail stretched taut as she cut the sea all day, and the sun sank and the roads of the world grew dark. And then Odysseus saw Elpenor.
Royal son of Laertes, Odysseus, old campaigner, the doom of an angry god, and God knows how much wine they were my ruined captain. I bedded down on the roof of Circe's house, but never thought to climb back down again by the ladder. Head first from the roof I plunged. My neck snapped from the backbone. My soul flew down to death. Now I beg you by those you left behind so far from here, your wife, your father who bred and reared you as a boy, and Telemachus, left at home in your halls, your only son. Well, I know when you leave this lodging of the dead, that you and your ship will put ashore again at the island of Aea. Then and there, my lord, remember me. I beg you, don't sail off and desert me, left behind unwept, unburied. Don't desert me, or my curse may draw God's fury on your head. No, burn me in full armor, all my harness, heat my mound by the churning gray surge, a man whose luck ran out, so even men to come will learn my story. Perform my rites and plant on my tomb that oar I swung with mates when I rode among the living.
All this, my unlucky friend, I reassured him, I will do for you. I won't forget a thing.
At last he came, the shade of the famous Theban prophet, holding a golden scepter, near Odysseus at once, and hailed him.
Royal son of Laertes, Odysseus, master of exploits, man of pain, what now? What brings you here? Forsaking the light of day, to see this joyless kingdom of the dead? Stand back from the trench, put up your sharp sword, so I can drink the blood and tell you all the truth. A sweet, smooth journey home, renowned Odysseus, and this is what you seek. But a god will make it hard for you. I know you will never escape the one who shakes the earth, quaking with anger at you still enraged, because you blinded the Cyclops, his dear son. Even so, you and your crew may still reach home, and you will find a world of pain at home. And there is your sign, unmistakable, clear, so clear you cannot miss it. When another traveler falls in with you and calls that weight across your shoulder, a fan to winnow grain, then plant your bladed balance oar in the earth, and sacrifice fine beasts to the Lord God of the sea, Poseidon, a ram, a bull, and a ramping wild boar. Then journey home and render noble offerings up to the deathless gods who rule the vaulting skies, to all the gods in order. And at last your own death will steal upon you, a gentle, painless death, far from the sea it comes, to take you down, borne down with the years in ripe old age, with all your people there and blessed peace around you. All that I have told you will come true.
O Tiresias, I replied as the prophet finished, surely the gods have spun this out as fate, the gods themselves. But tell me one more thing, and tell me clearly. I see the ghost of my long-lost mother here before me, dead, crouching close to the blood in silence. She cannot bear to look me in the eyes, her own son, or speak a word to me. How, Lord, can I make her know me for the man I am?
One rule there is, the famous seer explained, and simple for me to say and you to learn. Any one of the ghosts you let approach the blood will speak the truth to you. Anyone you refuse will turn and fade away.
Oh, my son, what brings you down to the world of death and darkness? You are still alive. It's hard for the living to catch a glimpse of this. Great rivers flow between us, terrible waters. The ocean, first of all, no one could ever ford that stream on foot. Only abroad some sturdy craft. Have you just come from Troy, wandering long years with your men and ship? Not yet returned from Ithaca? You have still not seen your wife inside the halls, have you?
Mother, I replied, I had to venture down to the house of death, to consult the shade of Tiresias, seer of Thebes. Never have I neared Athea, never once set foot on native ground, always wandering, endlessly hardship from the day I first set sail from King Agamemnon, bound for Troy, the stallion land, to fight the Trojans there. But tell me about yourself and spare me nothing. What form of death overcame you? What laid you low? Some long, slow illness? Or did the Artemis showering arrows come with her painless shafts and bring you down? Tell me of father. Tell of the son I left behind. Do my royal rights still lay in their safekeeping? Or does some stranger hold the throne by now, because men I think I'll come home no more? Please tell me about my wife, her turn in mind, her thoughts. Still standing fast beside our son, still guarding our great estates, secure as ever now? Or has she wed some other countryman at last, the finest prince among them?
Surely she is still waiting there in your halls, her life an endless hardship like your own, weeping away the days. No one has taken over your royal rights yet. Your father holds your great estates in peace. He attends the public banquets shared with all, the feast of men and justice should enjoy, for every lord invites him. Your father keeps to his farm. He never goes to town with no bed for him there. Any spot on the rising ground of his vineyard rows he makes himself a bed. In his old age, bearing hard upon him, his grief grows as he longs for your return. And with I the same grief, I died and met my fate. It was my longing for you, my shining Odysseus, you in your quickness, and you in your gentle ways.
Mother, why not wait for me? How I long to hold you. So even here in the house of death, we can fling our loving arms around each other, take some joy in the tears that numb the heart. Or is this just some wraith of great Persephone sends my way to make me ache with sorrow all the more?
My son, the unluckiest man alive, this is no deception sent by the queen. This is just the way of mortals when we die, no longer bend by flesh and bones together. The fire in all its fury burns the body down to ashes. Once life slips from the white bones, and the spirit flitters away, flown like a dream. But you must long for the daylight. Go quickly, remember all these things, so one day you can tell them to your wife.
Odysseus continued on with his story, telling of the array of great women and men he saw from times past. He saw Tyro, born of kings, her half-god sons Peleus and Neleus, Alcmena, who bore the great Heracles, Oedipus, the magnificent Chloris, lovely Ariadne, and daughter of Minos. The Phaeacians all fell silent, hushed, his story holding them spellbound down the shadowed halls.
And so it will be, sure as I am alive and rule our island men, whom love their oars, our guest. Much as he longs for our passage home, must stay and wait it out till tomorrow, till I can collect the whole array of parting gifts. His send-off rests with every noble here, but with me most of all. I hold the reins of power in this realm.
Alcinous, majesty, shining among your island people, if you would urge me now to stay here one whole year, then speed me home weighed down with lordly gifts, I'd gladly have it so. Better by far that way. The fuller my arms on landing there at home, the more respected. Well received I'd be by all who saw me sailing back to Ithaca.
Ah, Odysseus, one look at you and we know that you are not one who would cheat us, no fraud, such as the dark soil breeds and spreads across the face of the earth these days. Cowards and vagabonds frame their lies so tightly none can test them. But you, what grace gives to your words, and what good sense within. You have told your story with all singer's skill, and the miseries you have endured, your great Aegeans too. But come now, tell me truly, your godlike comrades, did you see any heroes down in the house of death, and any who sailed with you in their doom at Troy? At night, still young, I'd say the night is endless. For us in this palace now, it's hardly time for sleep. Keep telling us of your adventures, they are wonderful. I could hold here till dawn's first light if you could only bear, here in our halls, to tell the tale of all your pains you've suffered.
Alcinous, majesty, shining among your island people, there is a time for many words, a time for sleep as well, but if you insist on hearing me more, I'd never stint on telling you my own tale, and those more painful still. The griefs of my comrades, dead in war's wake, who escaped the battle cries of Trojan armies, only to die in blood at journey's end, thanks to a vicious woman's will.
The field marshal's ghost replied at once to Odysseus, telling him of how his wife along with Aegisthus murdered him, leaving him no honor. He tells Odysseus that there is nothing more deadly than a woman set on outrage, that the whole breed of womankind bathes in shame, even the honest ones to come, forever down the years.
True, true, even so your own wife. Never indulge her so far. Never reveal the whole truth, whatever you may know. Just tell her part of it. Be sure to hide the rest. Not that you, Odysseus, will be murdered by your wife. She's much too steady. Her feelings run too deep. That wise woman. She was a young bride, I well remember, when we left her behind when we went off to war. With an infant boy she nestled at her breast. That boy must sit and be counted with the men now. Happy man. His beloved father will come sailing home and see his son, and he will embrace his father. That is his only right.
But my wife, she never let me even feast my eyes on my own son. She killed me first, his father. I tell you this, bear it in mind. You must. When you reach your homeland, steal your ship and port in secret, never out in the open. The time for trusting women's gone forever. Come, tell me, and be precise. Have you heard news of my son?
Atrides, why ask me that? I know nothing, whether he's dead or alive. It's wrong to lead you on with idle words.
So they stood there, trading heart-sick stories, deep in grief as the tears streamed down their faces. But now there came the ghost of Peleus' son, Achilles. The ghost of the splendid runner knew Odysseus at once and hailed him with a flight of mournful questions.
Achilles, son of Peleus, greatest of the Ephesians, I had to consult Tyrus, driven here by hopes that he would help me journey home to rocky Ithaca. Never yet have I neared Athia, never once set foot on native ground. My life is endless trouble. But you, Achilles, there's not a man in the world more blessed than you. There never has been, never will be one. Time was when you were alive. We Argives honored you as a god, and now down here I see you lord it over the dead in all your power. So grieve no more at dying, great Achilles.
No winning words about death to me, shining Odysseus. By God, I'd rather slave on earth for another man, some dirt-poor tenant farmer who scrapes to keep alive, than rule down here over all the breathless dead. But come, tell me the news about my gallant son. Did he make his way to the wars? Did the boy become a champion? Yes or no? Tell me of noble Peleus. Any word you've heard, still holding pride of place among his Myrmidon hordes, or do they despise the man in Hellas and in Pythia, because old age has lamed his arms and legs? For I no longer stand in the light of day, the man I was, comrade in arms, to help my father as once I helped our armies, killing the best fighters Troy could field in all the world wide up there. Oh, to arrive at father's house, the man I was for one brief day, I'd make my fury and my hands, invincible hands, a thing of terror to all those men who abuse the king with force and wrest away his honor.
Now the rest of the ghosts, the dead and gone, came swarming up around him, deep in sorrow there, each asking him about the grief that touched him most. Only the ghost of great Ajax, son of Telamon, kept his distance, blazing with anger at Odysseus still for the victory he had won by the ships that time he pressed his claim for the arms of Prince Achilles. Would to God Odysseus had never won such trophies. All for them the earth closed over Ajax, that poor hero Ajax. Odysseus cried out to him now. He tried to win him over, but Ajax answered not a word. He stalked off toward Erebus into the dark to join the other lost, departed dead. Yet now, despite his anger, he might have spoken to Odysseus, or he to Ajax, but the heart inside Odysseus stirred with some desire to see the ghosts of others dead and gone. He caught a glimpse of powerful Heracles. Around him cries of the dead rang out like cries of birds. Heracles knew Odysseus at once, at first glance, and held him with a winging burst of pity.
Royal son of Laertes, Odysseus famed for exploits, luckless man. You too, braving out a fate as harsh as the fate I bore, alive in the light of day. Son of Zeus that I was, my torments never ended. Forced a slave for a man not half the man I was. He saddled me with the worst heartbreaking labors. Why, he sent me down here once to retrieve the hound that guards the dead. No harder task for me, he thought, but I dragged the great beast up from the underworld to the earth, and Hermes and the gleaming-eyed Athena blazed the way.
With that he turned, and back he went to the house of death, but Odysseus held fast in place, hoping that others might still come, shades of famous heroes, men who died in the old days, and ghosts of an even older age he longed to see. He rushed back to his ship, commanded all hands to take the decks and cast off cables quickly. They swung aboard at once. They sat to the oars in ranks, and a strong tide of the ocean river swept her on downstream, sped by their rowing first, then by a fresh, fair wind.